When it comes to your life and any dissatisfaction you may be experiencing, is there a possibility that your expectations are just too high? And this may sound like somewhat of a contradiction because I'm always telling people that they need to set a higher standard for their own quality of life. However, there's a significant difference between setting a high standard for your life, for your own behaviors, for the behaviors of others, and setting perfectionist standards. And perfectionism, although it's one of these characteristics that's often viewed as an accolade, it's actually to our detriment. It causes huge anxiety. It causes avoidance. It's a form of avoidance. And it also results in frustration, irritability, and heartache. Ultimately, we should be all seeking a fulfilling life. We should be all feeling a general sense of satisfaction. However, when we have really high expectations of ourselves, of others, of the way life should play out, it just results in frequent disappointment. And as I said, we kind of have these perfectionist ideologies, and oftentimes they can be detrimental to our mental health because they just keep us stuck. We never reach the end point. We never reach that state of perfection, and so we're always left with this feeling of emptiness. It can also result in massive disconnect and isolation, because when people don't live up to our expectations, we begin to hold grudges. We feel resentful, and resentment is one of those things that can eat you alive if you don't stay on top of it. And ultimately, you're the one who has set this standard, and then you're the one who possibly hasn't even verbalized it, and it's one of these kind of arbitrary things that you've created in your own mind that nobody else is aware of, and that has you fuming. So I suppose when it comes to setting standards, how do you get a good middle ground? Well, always start with yourself. We're very quick to put expectations in place for other people, and we don't often even live up to these expectations ourselves. So take a good long hard look at yourself. Look at areas in which you show up for yourself, and then look at ways in which you show up for others. And then I suppose assess areas of your life that you could work on that would make you feel better internally. When it comes then to other people in your life, try to incorporate a policy of assuming that everyone is doing their best. And I think it's actually Brené Brown that mentioned that in one of her books, how much nicer a place the world is when we assume the best for everybody, when we assume that everyone has best intentions when they set out, even if they end up fucking up or pissing us off or whatever. And as well as that, to adopt a mentality of kindness, forgiveness, and tolerance with everything. Because ultimately, when you walk around the place pissed off with people, pissed off with yourself, the only one you're damaging, the only one you're eating alive, the only one whose life you're ruining is yours. So work on the things that you can work on, which is yourself, which is your circumstance, and that doesn't mean that you're not able to express needs to people. It's just that you're not going to be completely deflated if those needs aren't met, and that's where the whole self-acceptance, self-awareness comes into it. It's about being able to see things in perspective, see things in context, know that life isn't all that serious, and you have to take it seriously, you have to do your best, but ultimately you have to have a little bit of flexibility as well. So a kind of a cautious optimism, assume the best but prepare for the worst, and as I said, lower your standards all around, and you'll probably be a lot better off. You'll have more peace of mind. If this is anything you'd like further information on, get in touch on the website. It's fundamentals.ie, or get in touch on Instagram or Facebook. Have a lovely bank holiday Monday.